So the reason why I chose mental health, anxiety, depression, and low mood, and its effect on acne, because it's one of the biggest problem nowadays. We are in a lockdown COVID situation, so that is enough to create a lot of panic or stress among all of us. At the same time, when we go through different problems in life, either relationship issues or problems with work, or at the moment there are many people who are struggling with employment and things like that. Unfortunately, if unfortunately, anxiety, depression, low mood, they not only affect skin, they affect every organ on the body. And as I've mentioned, skin is one of those organs which is connected with everything anyway. So then skin actually takes the double effect, it takes the double impact from your mood. It's like very simple. So for example, when you are in a situation where you are going through either an embarrassment or blushing, your skin actually reflects your emotions. You get the blood supply suddenly on the face. So that's why whatever you go through in your brain, your skin actually reflects that. And it's very obvious on your face. Now, if we kind of look into anxiety, depression, it's just an imbalance of the happy hormones. It's easier to say imbalance of the happy hormones, but I think it's important to know what exactly happens in this situation. So at the moment, I've been contacted a lot by my clients, private clients, and dermatology-related patients, because apparently in this lockdown, their mood was down, and they started having breakdowns. And these are, most of them are the patients or the clients who were actually quite stable on the treatment. The way our body is made or built is ideally to kind of cover or to cope with a non-stressful situation. So it's not built to be in a state of stress all the time. So if you understand this, then if we then leave ourselves into that state for longer, then it actually start mimicking false alarms, and it affects the other hormones as well in the body. So what happens is that when you have a low mood or anxiety or depression, all of these things, it releases, your brain, your nervous system releases the stress hormones. So one of the biggest hormone which we talk here is cortisol. So ideally, when we go through this thing, we have a small surge of cortisol in our body, and that kind of tries to mobilize fat and carbohydrates, because the brain picks the signal that we need instant energy and instant boost up to fight with the stress. At the same time, cortisol causes inflammation as well, and then it has a few other effects which I'm going to talk about in a second. Now, as a result, what happens is that in a situation for maybe a few days, then it's released and it's kind of gone back, and the normal hormones, they try to cover up. If we stay in that situation for longer, then there is a surge of cortisol all the time in our body, and that then have a knock-on effect, and it imbalances all the other natural hormones. Now, in stress, it affects the blood supply of your body as well, especially the skin. And at the same time, your muscles, they start kind of becomes very rigid. And once that happens, sorry, I'm just reading some messages and questions at the same time. So once that happens, you see that they are indirectly related to the other natural calming hormones in our body. So as a result, your body is kind of giving you a lot of instant energy. And with that energy, most of the time when people go through these times, they then start having, cheating diet, they say, or they start having sugar stuff, because that gives them a bit of a sudden burst or energy. They start, drinking. Smoking is one of the commonest things. It's a short-term relaxing effect, but long-term it causes more stress. So all of these things are linked together. Now, what happens is, then this cortisol, especially in acne, the cortisol actually works faster on the oil-producing glands, and something what we call a pilosebaceous glands, and the oil starts producing double or 3 times. Now, if you, I'm sure you're aware of that anyway, we've already discussed that in the last few episodes, that in acne, the oil production is faster than normal skin. So imagine that you have a situation where your gland is firing at double speed, and then you're stressed out, and that is kind of you're releasing cortisol, which is then affecting on the same gland. So it's firing at like 3 or 4 times higher than how it would normally do. So that then blocks the oil ducts faster. And once we know that the ducts are blocked, it actually produces, and the quality of the oil changes as well with stress. The sebum becomes more thick, and the thick sebum further then gets stuck, and for the skin to get rid of that. So it's like a catch-22. So then what else the cortisol does? It actually affects the another hormone, which is an anti-aging hormone, and something what we call DHEA. And it reduces its production. So as a result, people who stay longer in a stressful period, or who are not naturally, but who are anxious most of the time, their skin also. We've already discussed that your skin has normal moisturizing and hydrating elements and things. Now, cortisol also has a knock-on effect on hyaluronic acid. Now, hyaluronic acid is really, really important because it actually hydrates the skin. At the same time, it is important because it kind of works. It gives the strength and the laxity of the skin. So as a result, people who are very stressed out or depressed longer, their face starts sagging down very faster. So that's one of the major reason what happens. Now, if you see that we've already mentioned that this is a condition which is mostly in the puberty. Now, if you see that teenagers, they go through they're going through the emotional stress anyway, because there is naturally other hormones are kicking in their body. And then if we then are struggling to understand or listen to them, or struggling to sit down with them and explain what exactly is happening to them, then the social pressure, the peer pressure, the maybe the study related issues, and all of these things. And acne is very confidence down as well. And about 85% of people who suffer with acne, they actually get like 2 to 3 times really bad severe episodes of acne in their life. So if you combine all of these things together, then we're not helping to release their natural, stress hormones. So we also divide acne into 2 different categories. One is the psychological acne, or the psychogenic acne, we call it. There's a big field in dermatology which we call psychodermatology, and this is really important because we have to work with what is happening in the brain. And the brain response is very cover. Now, many patients, when they go through the many people when they go through the acne breakouts, because it's so visual, so they see a spot that kind of stress them out. People comment onto them, and at the moment, I think they feel that they have to look good, and look good. Not most of the time means pimple-free face. So that kind of then sometimes make them pick their spots as well. And hormonal issues can also give you, causes problems with the, hormonal issues can also cause problems with the hair. So suddenly their hair growth changes. And if you remember in the first episode, we've already discussed that because the acne, the sebaceous gland also sits next to the hair gland, so people can have hi Satya, so people can have really bad problems with the hair follicles and folliculitis. So compare all of these things, then we are adding further cortisol. At the same time, then when you are kind of stressed out, your face muscles are very stiff. And all the muscles, they start working in a wrong way. Now, people, they start picking up, once you've picked up a spot, you are causing scarring. Now, the different types of scarring, 4 or 5 types of scarring. Once it's quite deep, it's very difficult for us to get rid of the scars. And it's like a vicious cycle. So sometimes people feel relief by just picking a spot. And I see this a lot of the time. And there are different types of acne which becomes worse, or which is only you picking the spot. So in this situation, habit reversal is really important. And what I usually tend to do is I ask my patient that how many times you actually pick a spot, or how many times you're scratching that area. And they're like, well, I don't know. Because when you scratch that area, the skin, normal skin is not very thick. So normal skin has a breathing space. But scratching, because of skin, so that makes the lining of the skin too thick, and skin struggles to breathe. So as a result, that skin age faster, and that skin is more prone for sun damage as well, and it loses its hydration quick. So all of these things which are going to put a negative effect on the wound healing, that kind of cascade the process. So what I usually tell them, if it's like a young teenager, or girls or whoever, I usually ask them, you can buy a bracelet and you can wear it in your hand, and every time you feel like that you want to pop a spot, just maybe pop a or whatever from the bracelet. Or sometimes you can buy, you can make your own as well, and you can keep few gaps in there, and then at the end you can see that how many times you actually were trying to pick a spot. And it's usually not one spot, it's usually like multiple areas people do it. So that's definitely not going to help. Now, if you're in UK, then there are many support groups available anyway, and something like Mind Matters, and you can go online. And even people who are not in UK, you can go onto a BAD website, which is British Associate of Dermatologists, and they have really good leaflets over there. And Mind Matters also, you can access it through internet, and they have really good exercises. CBT is another kind of a technique which we use. But I think one of the most important thing which I try to explain to my unfortunately, is a condition which we are not sure we can cure it completely. We basically just treat it symptomatic wise. So most of these, but the life is something which can hit you at any time, and your stress level can go up. So on the treatment, even if you're on isotretinoin, even if you're taking regular antibiotics, you're doing whatever, unless you sort out a bit of your own stress, and other ways you can do it, you can make like a bit of a small short-term plan, or a long-term plan as well. And I think especially right now, this is the COVID crisis, when we have a lot of time, we always worry and we always kind of complain that we don't have time. When we get the time, we will do this and we will do that. So something, I'm a big believer of what we call an NLP, which is a neuro-linguistic approach, which means a positive thinking. So in simple words, one negative thought actually multiplies faster. It's like an electric circuit in your brain. And that generates maybe 1 million negative thoughts. So your brain is actually thinking negative by default, unless you are putting an effort in to think positive. That's unfortunately how it is. Constantly thinking. So if I don't want my hand to do any work, my hand has no ability physically to go against my will. But my brain works in a different way. So either you need to control your brain, or your brain is going to control yourself. It's quite difficult, but it's like a habit. So if you develop one simple habit which is good, you wouldn't know, and you develop a reflex action. It's similarly with the bad habits as well. There's a lot of stuff available online. You can read in case that how to build your confidence. That's another question which many people ask me, that they have so many spots and they don't know what else to do. It's bound that they will feel low. I think I understand that, but no one can give you a guarantee that maybe if you get conditions. So no one can actually give you a certainty about anything in life. And this is the point where you need to stand up for yourself. So there are many people who suffer with many conditions. Maybe I suffer with some condition which has no cure. Maybe someone else suffer with certain condition. So accepting half of the situation, what exactly you are in, releases a lot of your stress. Now, one simple exercise, which I tend to do a lot on my clients, especially habit reversal, is something. If you see that we have two parts of your brain, so one part has to be connected with the second part. So most of the time when I ask my clients what happens, why you're picking these spots, or why your anxiety or stress is not under control, so most of them tell me that there is a fight happening in their brain and they don't know what is the fight. So apparently what happens is that your two parts of your brain are not connected together. So you're sending a signal, unable to interpret it. So be kind to yourself. So what happens is you go out and people say, well, guess what? You have so many spots. And you say, well, yes, I have so many spots. And they say, well, you don't look good. And you're like, well, no, I actually look super bad. So you precipitate all of that negative thing inside you. And this is in your own hands. No one can give you 100% skin. No one can, give you this surety that you will never ever suffer with any health. Simple thing is if you understand a bit of this conscious and subconscious kind of a thing. So imagine that people who, and most of my clients, they feel really better and it works, but it's a bit of a patience game. So you have to learn this habit. So I'm just going to tell you a very simple exercise, which I do it on daily basis for myself. With any situation you can put yourself in, either it's picking a spot or biting your nails or pulling your hair. I see a lot of patients with scarring and underneath, but that knocks their confidence so much that they start pulling their eyebrows, the hair of their lashes and their eyebrows, and they literally I've seen young kids and it's very sad and it's very difficult because we can't do much about it. So little things, just talk to your kids, talk to your friends, your family who are with you, who are suffering with these things. Don't increase their anxiety. Spot-free face. And beauty does not mean a complete white or a complete different color face. Beauty means that we accept many things in life. So one of the very simple exercise which I was just about to tell you is what happens is that most of the intellectual thinking and process making happens. Of the brain acts like a bit of a computer. So if I have to go and if I search Google, I'm not going to put full Google. I'm just going to put maybe GO and then it will give me a list and I'm going to pick it up. So this is exactly happens with this part of the brain. And why both parts they fight together is, for example, if I have a habit of picking my spot, and naturally when I'm stressed out and it's a pressure building up, so I'm actually, this part is telling this part, don't pick the spot. Okay, so naturally I'm going to pick the spot, but because I have made a decision, I'm not going to pick the spot. So I'm saying don't pick the spot. Now, don't is a negative command. So most of the time, this part it hasn't got an ability most of the time to pick a negative command. Then usually it's like, okay, so pick a spot, and it's like, don't pick a spot. So this is the fight which is happening in your brain. What shall I do? Pick or don't pick? So you need to be careful how you are giving a signal to your own brain. That's really important. That's the basic of neuro-linguistic approach. That you have to generate a positive stimulus because negative is there. There's so much negative around in the world, outside, around us. And especially as a doctor, I have a very negative profession. People have problems and they are in pain, or they're suffering with cancers, or they're suffering with problems, with conditions which, so not many people, they walk into my everyday door with a big smile on the face. When people go through pain and health issues, they become very bitter. And I have myself gone through really serious health issues, and I understand, and I think that has helped me to be a good doctor, and to listen to my patients or to my clients what exactly. So they're already stressed out. Stress is there, but you need to understand that we have to perform in a pressure area. So if we're not expected to be calm when everything is going fine. So pressure is bound to happen. So in that situation, what you can do is, instead of giving this command to yourself, don't pick, I'm not going to pick, you say, okay, just change it, do something else. Okay, so give like a command, that I have not picked it. So I have not picked it, or I have any thought which is going to bring some positive thing in your brain. Buy time for yourself. So when you're kind of picking that bracelet thing, which is very common, and in most of the psychodermatology clinics we tell these to the patients, then automatically your focus and stimulus has changed. I think what I'll do is, I know that some people are asking about to do it in Urdu. I'll do another one in Urdu, just a pure one, because there's some audience here which I don't think so they will understand Urdu, but I will do that separately for you. Okay, so that's really important. The other thing which I tend to say to my patients, the second exercise is, I say watch exercise or a clock exercise. So if you are somebody like, I love to wear watch, or if you're in a situation where the clock is right in front of you, just buy time for yourself. Take like 1 minute. So what's happening is your brain is telling you, I'm really upset and I want you to be, super stressed out. You say, okay, fine, I'm listening to you. Time for yourself, and during that time, think about something positive, something which can bring a smile to you, or something might have happened good in your life. We only tend to focus on half glass, which is empty. We need to focus on half glass, which is full. And this is one of the biggest problem we suffer, and we are actually I don't say willingly, but we are promoting this habit, and we are promoting this practice in our house, in our lives, and our kids, they are adapting this, and that's why anxiety, depression is so common. You see, so last quick thing before I finish this talk today, if you see a child, or if you see anybody who's really stressed out and who's in pressure, and if they come and see you, what is exactly the first thing you're going to tell them? You will tell them, it's okay, sit down, calm down. Even if you don't know what is wrong with them, you don't know what they're suffering with, or what is their struggles in life, the first thing, a reflex action, a knee-jerk action, is you're going to tell them, it's okay to sit down. Why can't we say this to ourselves? We need to be our friends. We need to tell ourselves it's okay. So I sometimes, I go through the really, really worst expectations with my clients sometimes, and I tell them this is not possible. Somebody's texting me at in the middle of a night, and I've got one spot, is fine, and I've got a breakout, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, it's okay, nothing is going to happen. Just relax. So I think the whole idea for me to do this is, we are human. And our bodies are meant to go through aging process, are meant to go through many things. So when there is too much negativity outside, we don't have to encourage ourselves to be negative. So be your own light, and be your own friend. You are enough, and you don't need thousands of people to tell you this thing. Just develop your own confidence. Okay, if something is wrong, we can work on to that, and we can try and find reasons how to fix it. But full to yourself is really, really important. I think I've talked a lot about anxiety and these things. I'm a big believer. I'm a very optimistic person, and I think it's like your life is like a car, and you're the driver. So if you're driving and you're, say, for example, on a motorway, and you see people who are kind of driving around you, sometimes they will give you a horn, few will try to overtake you, few may just try and push you into a race or a road rage or whatever. You need to be careful that if you start picking every signal to your destination, this is exactly what it is in everything. So pick up whatever you can. If you're struggling with things, that's fine. Take your time. You're not here to cure the whole world. If you can do something, if you can do something about yourself, certainly you can help others. So I usually say, when people, usually comment and they say, whatever you want us to do, we will do it for you. And I say, okay, then just, can you save me from your own self? That's the first question I usually ask. Because if someone can save you from themselves, they can save you from anyone. But before you ask this question, you need to go through, can you save, or are you saving you from your own self? And if you can, sky is your limit. and you definitely will have a beautiful skin because you have a beautiful mind. And that's all. So any questions related to that, please let me know, and I'm happy to do another one if needed. And I will do, as requested, I will do all of this in Urdu, and I'm just going to repost it. Okay. Until next time, next Sunday we'll do another one, and I'll try and pick up the other question and answers. And until then, be safe and look after yourself. Bye.